Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Today I'm going to be mounting a piece of equipment on the bench. Not the standard way. Because I do a variety of work in this shop, I sometimes need a vise. Now I have a monster vise over there on the floor, and that's really handy. I clamp that to the top of the bench. But sometimes I only just need to hold a piece enough to be able to file on it or do a small job. And dragging that big monster up out from underneath the lathe bench is kind of a bit of work. So when I found this little Craftsman Junior vise, I thought this is perfect. It's an antique unit, and it's model number 6502, but it's made from cast steel. The vices that you get at the Harbor Freight and the other inexpensive tool suppliers now are pretty much all cast iron. Cast iron has a problem with being brittle. It'll crack. That big vise over there is made from cast iron too. It's so massive that it doesn't really have too much of a problem, but somebody beat on it with too big a tool and broke the back, so I had to repair it. This one, being made of cast steel or possibly ductile iron, is a lot more resilient. It'll take a lot more hammering without having a problem. Now, people that put horns and little flat spots on the back of vices, that's really not an anvil. It's an anvil shaped object. If you start smacking on this thing, you're going to beat it all up. And somebody's chiseled the top of this and kind of screwed that up. But the jaws are in real good shape. They close parallel and solidly. The screw works good. The slide bar works good. It's got a few dings and dents on it that I'm going to have to file out to make it work a little smoother. When I try to open it all the way, it gets hung up. So I've got to go after this tail part of the vise. But it's a good little vise. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a mounting board out of this piece of scrap lumber. It's just a piece of 1/2-inch plywood. And what I've done is I've traced out the base of the vise on it. I'm going to drill it for mounting the vise down to it with some carriage bolts. And I'm going to mount, after this gets some work done to it, I'm going to mount this piece of 2x4 underneath the vise. And what that's going to do, I'm going to mount the 2x4 into this vise with this bolted to the top of it, and then this on the top of that. Of course, I'll cut off the piece of plywood a little bit so that it doesn't have a big overhang on it. But then whenever I want to put this vise on the bench, I can just clamp it in the woodworking vise, pull it off, and set it out of the way. Now, there's been all kinds of talk and ranting back and forth about how heavy things are and how hard it is to work with heavy tools. Yes, it is. So I'm going to try and make it so that I don't have to do all that, because I'm thinking I'm not getting younger. I've got a bad back already. No point making any more damage than I need to. So that's a project that I'm going to be working on. I'll probably finish that up sometime this week, and then I'll post the video. Thanks a lot for watching. Now, if you have any ideas for tips or things that you'd like to talk about, please drop a note in the comments below. You know, I read them all.